last week, on the urgence of Governor Nighthill, we tracked the raiders through the green fields to the south, and were also urged by a monk to find his master, who had apparently been captured or had been infiltrated the cult of the dragon. His name is Leosin Erlenthar, and he is a monk from Candlekeep who's the foremost expert on the cult of the dragon. And Nighthill wants to know where this camp is, how many cultists there are, who their leaders are, and we got some really good information by interrogating one of the cultists that we came across, one of the stragglers that was falling behind the main force last week, and Ander did a good job of almost converting him away from the evils of the cult of the dragon. But I guess cooler heads prevailed, and he lived and is tied up in this little rocky outcropping. So as you continue to travel on, and there was some discussion about, he told you that the camp was about 5 more miles from here. You've already traveled about 5 miles from Greenest, and there was some discussion about how to get in the camp, what do we do once we get to the camp, and it seemed like we put it to a vote, and a stealth tactic would probably be the best route for you all, but you can decide that further along once you get there. So you continue to travel. What's the general marching order? Who's out in front? Who's following?
Whoever's out in front of Warland, he's right behind, second in the row.
Warland second, I believe. Yalara, with her knowledge of the natural world, was out in front last time.
Ander would
I'll
be
go first.
Ander would be a close third, if not second.
Okay. I mean, you all can certainly you all can certainly walk two abreast. Julianne is pointing. I assume that means she's going to be in the back. We're actually heading south. We're actually going to be heading off down this direction. So, Yalara, do you want to act as scout or no? Are you...
Sure.
Okay. And, just for everyone's edification, 60 HP from last session. So go ahead and add 60 to your experience. All right, so you all walk off. Yalara in front, Warland and Ander kind of following closely behind, and then Gore and then Julianne. Does that sound good to everybody? All right, so you had been walking through this kind of tall grass, and it's still fairly tall, but you're starting to get into the foothills of the mountains to the south, bordering the Sword Coast, the southern border of the Sword Coast, and the northern border of So I provided some visual aids. So what you had been walking through looked similar to this. I know that looks like tire tracks, but just imagine that it's footprints that had mashed all that tall grass down. But the grass is even taller than that.
I didn't see it.
We're on the wrong page.
I'm not. Yeah.
Oh,
I
clicked I made a handout that's not in any of your journals, but I just clicked the show to players button. Does it have to be in your journals?
Yes.
I just didn't want the journals to get crowded with a bunch of extra little pictures that I just put in for flavor. How about now?
Perfect. I see it.
Okay. So that's generally what you all have been walking through, except for the grass is probably about waist high. It's even taller than that, but you can see in the distance that the foothills towards the mountains start to kind of become rolling, and there are rocky outcroppings here and there. after you walk about another 30 minutes, you hear a rustling from the sound of rustling coming from the right, probably about 100 feet in front of you, and out pops a gnome from the side of the grass, the tall grass that was completely covering his head. You hear kind of the chirping of birds, and he's got a few yellow canaries kind of circling around his head. He's very pale and smoking a pipe. He's got really tattered blue robes on, and he just kind of looks in your direction and says, "How'd this path get here?"
Well, of course somebody stomped it out, my kin.
"Well, it looks like you're on the right path. Although you might not want to be staying out past dark. Fell things
Why would you make such an
wander the
observation?
green fields after dark. But, as I said, you all are on the right path," and he kind of gives Ander a wink, and then just walks across the path back into and disappears into the tall grass.
Warland looks back and turns around towards Ander and says, "Well, do you know the other gnome, or is he just your long-lost brother?"
You've got some creepy friends, Ander.
I'm at a loss for words. I know not of this individual. But it seems that he knows me.
You kind of hear the grass, rustle as he makes his way across, like you can see it, and there's kind of birds floating around above him, and they kind of fly off after a little while.
I yell out, "Excuse me, how do you know me?"
You just hear a very faint, almost as if on the wind, chuckle. And you stop hearing the sound of the grass rustling after him.
Well, I have no recollection of this individual. I believe that we should continue on and continue to search.
Maybe
Okay.
he
Crap.
recognized something about you when he looked at you.
I know not of this individual.
Well, but maybe there's something about, I don't know, your attire or your look that he would know.
Why
Even
don't
if you
roll
don't know
insight?
him.
Well, on my shield is the crest of Bahamut. Anybody would be able to recognize that had they some form of knowledge of the gods of this existence.
Warland and Yalara, make a perception check. Okay, I'm gonna have to whisper both of you something.
Wait. Hold on.
Okay.
User was moved out of your channel. User was moved out of your channel.
Free yourself from typing, my friend.
Oh, can you hear that? I can.
can't.
Okay, I'm sorry. I can mute my.
No, I just
microphone.
moved you to a secret room, though. That way you don't have to type it out to us. Eh?
Oh, now you can hear me and they can't hear me?
Yes. It's
Okay.
just me and
You both
Allison.
recognize. Thank you. That's awesome. Because that is really awesome. You both recognize, or seem to almost at the edge of your memory recognize, this gnome. He looks extremely similar, if not identical, to the gnome that you both found dead, tied to the tree at the very beginning of the adventure. Except he seemed paler. His skin was very pale.
Was he
Dead.
walking dead?
He's a dead.
No.
I
Okay.
don't know. But you two were the only ones that really got up close. Well, Yalara got up close and recognized him, and Warland's a gnome, so he would probably recognize the gnome more readily than the rest of the party. All right.
Well, if you recall, I after I seen that he was dead, I went on a killing rampage.
I remember that, yes. So, that's all.
All right.
User left your channel. User was moved out of your channel.
All right. Can you hear me again? That was cool. Okay, so you all continue walking now. Yalara, since you're taking the point, I want you to think back in your memory about the information that the cultists that you all interrogated last time gave you about any potential, this may be too much hand-holding, but about any potential dangers that might be upon the road before you reach the camp.
I don't know how much I remember.
Make a, we'll call this an intelligence check. Just make a regular intelligence check for your character, if not for you.
I don't see it on here.
Just on your character sheet under your skills, there should just be, at the very bottom, there should just be like an unskilled intelligence check. I'm not sure what it's called. All right, let me look at the DC. DC 10. Okay. You remember that the cultist that you all interrogated had said that usually the only thing that he was told by the cult, since he hadn't been to the camp yet, was to watch out for the rear guard that would guard the retreat and make sure that no one was following them. So as you walk on a little bit further, I want you to go ahead and make a perception check. Just barely. So you recognize, now I'm gonna have to change all my little handouts. So the terrain starts to become more and more rocky as you get into the foothills, away from the green fields of greenest. And more and more rocky outcroppings start to pop up. And you all see an area that looks somewhat like, not exactly like, this, with rocky outcroppings on the side, and both paths kind of go down the middle. Now you're probably about 100 yards back, or I'm sorry, 100 yards back from this at this point. But Yalara, you recognize that if there was going to be a rear guard ambush like he had told you, this would be a perfect spot for it.
Okay, so I turn back to everybody and I say, okay, it's likely we're going to find the rear guard up here. How do y'all want to proceed?
I mean, you all can see that there's a lot of hiding places, and you're kind of at a disadvantage here down in this valley if there are people hiding up among the rocks.
So we are down in a valley?
You're about 100 yards away from where these rocky outcroppings start to go up on either side of the path, but the path that you've been following that's trampled down goes right through this valley. Now, I mean, you're in the middle of a large, expanse of landscape. You could walk around, you could do any number of things, but the path goes straight through the valley. You're not in the valley yet.
How difficult is the terrain on each side of the valley?
It's probably less steep than the picture. It looks like difficult terrain, but it doesn't look like you would actually have to climb it. It looks like you could, with some effort, just kind of run up the rocky embankments. They're about 15 feet tall.
So while everybody was pondering what we're doing, Warland has just been standing there like in deep, deep thought. Like, you guys almost probably thought he was sick because he was just not holding any kind of conversation whatsoever.
Okay. So what I'm asking is basically, would we be able to walk on the top of either side of the valley?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's more of a. These are kind of rocky outcroppings. It's not like there are two mountains that are in a valley that go down to a valley. It's like there are two relatively small hills on the side with rocky outcroppings. I mean, you could walk all the way around the entire hills pretty easily, or you could walk up the hills from where you are and get on top of the outcroppings too. Short answer is yes. You can maneuver around to really anywhere.
Okay, I say we go up the hill then. To everybody else.
Okay.
That works for me.
Okay, there's kind of a hill on your right side and a hill on your left side. They're roughly the same height, and you're the same distance from both of them. They're more or less identical. Which side would you like to go to? I'll give you an aerial view here in a second.
While we're all starting, all of a sudden, Warland burst out with like a ah! I know I've been in lots of places and everywhere, but now I know where I remember seeing that gnome from. I can't believe I didn't think of it in the first place. It was only just a short few days ago.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking? That it's the one that I'm thinking of?
I believe it was. Maybe it was the first night that I officially met you. I don't really recall what you're thinking, but it was kind of dark, and I'm pretty sure that was the gnome that was in the forest.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, everything from the robes to this actual person looked very much like the one that we found.
The gnome that was tied to the tree was naked, but everything else, yes.
Sorry, forgot about that.
It's okay. Okay.
It was dead too.
It was dead. Strange. It can't be him. If that's the case, I must be mistaken. So which way are we going? What are we all doing just standing around?
I don't know. It's kind of dark. At least.
Oh, can you all not see anything? I'll get the hang of this one day. Did I turn on Fog of War or... Oh, I should probably put your tokens on there because I enabled line of sight. Come on. Now, you all aren't actually necessarily this close to these things, but that's what
User
an
disconnected
aerial
from your
view
channel.
would look like.
I still can't see it.
I hear some sort of weird... Put them on the right. I switch the players to the right thing. How about now?
User
There we
joined
go.
your channel.
You got it? Okay. So I need to check enforce line of sight, but not... Okay, dynamic lighting.
Is this to scale?
This is to scale, but you all aren't that close to it.
Oh, okay.
You all are... The map, that's just as far as the map goes. You all are back still about, 75 yards. But you can see these kind of two rocky hills that jut out on the sides of the path.
Okay. Well, anybody favor their right over their left?
I can barely see over the trees, let alone the mountains, or the grass, let alone the hills.
Mark, your mic is not working for me.
It's going haywire.
It's I'm gonna pause real quick. Okay, say all that again. I forgot to hit start the recording again.
Ender's going to look at his right hand and his left and say, well, I used my right hand for my mace, but my left hand for my shield. Then Ender takes a knee and starts praying for guidance.
By that logic, I use both my arms.
Can I see any advantage of one hill over the other? Are they both equally identical?
The hill to your left seems like it might be slightly smaller, but not really. They're more or less identical. They've got a couple of small trees sticking out of the top, and they're kind of just surrounded by, small boulders, and there are some kind of larger boulders up at the crest of each hill.
Orland's very indecisive, so that's why he's not helping you with this decision.
Or Julian, do you have any feelings about the hills?
I have left hands and right hands.
It's ridiculous. I'm going left.
Okay, I'll follow you.
Okay, so now Gore's gonna take the lead.
Yeah, I'll start marching off to the left.
Julian is going to be the rear guard.
Ah.
We're approaching the rear guard.
I really enjoy that microphone.
No problem.
So Gore kind of starts heading towards the left. And is that all the further that you move? You all can go ahead and move your tokens to where you want to go. It's the movement's kind of up to you now.
Oh, well, I'm just gonna head up the hill.
Okay,
So I'm not gonna stop anywhere.
You're just gonna walk straight up it.
I'm following Gore. He seems to have picked the way.
Okay. Now, just so I'm clear, are you this close to the path when you walk up the hill, or are you walking kind of way around it? Are you walking kind of way to the east? Or are you just walking up and over the hill?
I'm walking to the easiest way up the hill that's not close to the path, if that makes sense.
Okay, so you're more or less trying to go around the ambush that you think is here, not go up to it.
Well,
that's my main question.
Yeah.
Because if you just go clunking straight up the hill next to the
I
path...
want to go to the top of the hill anyway.
What's that?
So, I'm going to the top of the hill. So, meaning I'm passing over the top of the hill. So if I see something then,
okay,
I might stop to investigate it.
Okay, I
Like
mean,
we're traveling, basically.
Sure, the top of the hill is maybe only... Well, let's see how wide it is. I mean, it's maybe only, between 40 and 60 feet wide on the top, and it's kind of a plateau, like a rocky outcropping. So, if you want to walk up the hill, then go ahead and walk up the hill.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, I'm just following Gore.
Stop!
So
whoa,
wherever he
Gore! Gore! Stop right there, and everyone else is behind him.
Okay.
All right. So as soon as you crest the hill, you see a bunch of people that heard you coming.
Oh no!
From walking up the hill. Where is my...
Gotta update these character tokens, man. That's
Me?
yeah, because
What's
my
wrong?
token still had 10
10 what?
hit points. 10 out of 10.
Oh, I thought once when you change it on the character sheet, it changes it in the token.
I would assume that it would, but it doesn't.
Huh.
Mine did.
I may not have your token set up right. I'll mess with that later.
Okay.
All right. So they get a surprise round.
Why would they? They wouldn't even be expecting someone from there. They would be waiting to.
You just walked up a rocky hill that's 5 feet from them. You're like, I didn't hear anything about a stealth check or anything.
Okay.
All right, so we got. All right, so you see this first guy, and he has got the guy closest to you has got a purple armband on.
Don't forget, I'm wearing a gray cloak.
That's correct. You are. Thank you very much for reminding me of that.
That's so good, Lord.
I remember you took one, but I don't remember that you took it on, but I do actually kind of remember that you said you put it on. So, you crest the top of the hill, and this guy turns to you and is like, "Oi, what news? Are you the last of the stragglers?" The rest of you are still kind of down the hill. He can't quite see you all yet. Gore's head's just kind of poking up over the top of the crest of the rocky outcropping.
Aye, we're the last.
We? Who else is with you?
Just some of the newer recruits.
New recruits, eh? He comes over and looks down. Says, "Why didn't you all announce your presence?"
Warland looks up and says, well, we didn't know you were here. You're obviously expert stealthers. And by stealthers, I mean hiders. Yep. Walks up to him and says, Warland Quickfoot at your service.
All right, make a. None of the rest of you are wearing robes, so Warland, go ahead and make a deception check. And he says, well, let's see what the result is before I tell you what he says.
1 second.
We were expecting stragglers, and travelers. That's why we're here. We were here to ambush any travelers and speed any stragglers of our group on their way. Cyanwrath was supposed to tell all the greenest recruits to don their robes when they were on the path back to the camp so we could tell you all apart. Welcome, Warland. You're quite a friendly sort. We might have use for you in the Cult of the Dragon. Alright, well, off you go then. Head on back to camp. I'm sure Cyanwrath will have your orders.
Okay, well. Where's the other one? Are you the only one, or do you need help ambushing people?
Oh,
We seen
no.
a gnome just the other way. I'm sure there's going to be people coming behind us.
No,
And
we're...
then Anders gonna just kind of give him a elbow nudge from behind.
We're told to be out here till nightfall. Of course, Greenest and that bloody Nighthill, the coward that he is, could send any sort of party after us. That's why we're here. We'll be here till nightfall, but I've got us 5, and there's another 4 across the hill. Hey, boys! And you see, like, 5 heads pop up, some of them, like, cultists, and some of them the acolytes that have the purple armbands. Their heads pop up over some boulders on the opposite side of the little gulch there. And they all kind of, like, nod and then sink back down behind the boulders. I think we got it fairly well locked down over here.
Yeah, it looks like you guys are expecting some trouble. And Warlin looks up at Gore and just kind of gives him that. Looks like you're expecting some trouble.
Oh, right, we certainly are expecting some trouble. Like I just told you, we expect Nighthill to send some sort of search party after us. I mean, after all, we stole half the gold in the bloody town. It's a pity, though. Right. It's a pity, though, that stupid dragon flew off. We would have sieged the keep if he hadn't have and stolen all their gold in their treasury.
They'd be pretty foolish coming after the cult. Didn't they see how many of the cult came to the town?
I know. That would be foolish in my book, but these people, they seem to hate us. I don't know what... I mean, we just raided a little bit. We took all their money, but every time we raid a town, somebody sends somebody after us. So, we've been instructed to set up this here rearguard. Hold it down till nightfall. Well, till dawn, actually, but we'll probably go to sleep.
Do you need help or something?
No, like I said, we've got everything locked down here. We got more than enough to handle any kind of small... We don't expect them to send a force of soldiers after us. Greenest didn't have an army to speak of. We just expect some spies to come through.
What time of day is it?
Right now, so let's see. You all, the dragon took off and the main force of the cult left probably around 5 a.m. Then you all slept for about, 6-7 hours, whatever. You woke up, ate lunch, and took off about 1. It's been, let's see, it's 10 miles. What's travel pace?
We had the fight too.
You had the fight too, but that only took. I mean, in real time, that only took, 5 minutes or less.
Okay.
So I would say it's probably around 2:30 or 3 in the afternoon. The hell is my travel time? 3 miles an hour. Okay, so it's right around 2:30 in the afternoon. All right, off you go then.
Well, hold on. What time of the day does the sun go down this time of year?
And he looks over at you and he's like, "You're a recruit from Greenest, right? How do you expect me to know that?"
I'm asking you as a GM.
Oh.
Or would I not know that? Or
yeah, you would. Yeah, you would. No, you would know. It goes around. It's late spring, so it would go down probably around 7:30. Cats are fighting. Yeah, 7:30, 8 o'clock.
All right. Okay. So I'd say to the guy, "All right, we'll move on to the camp."
All right. Did you see any other stragglers behind you? I know we left some of the men. Some of the men got detained and injured and whatnot in Greenest and were hiding out and we're going to come back.
No, I told you we were the last.
You were the last that you saw.
We didn't see anybody else either.
Okay, so we'll know anybody else that comes down this track, we'll just smash them with these here boulders. And you can see that they've got boulders perched up on the top of these rocky outcroppings with like large kind of branches underneath them ready to pry them down the hill onto anybody that walks through. All right. And he just
See you later.
kind of moves back and leans back up against the boulder.
Okay, I keep walking up over the hill.
Okay. So, you all continue on, and that right there nets you each 55 experience.
How much?
55. Whether you kill him or get around him somehow, you still get the experience.
Oh, wait, say that one more time. How much exactly? I'm trying to add it up here.
55. So 60 from last week from killing the first group, and 55 for circumnavigating this group. And that was a good bit of quick thinking about your robe there. So I'll give you a point of inspiration, Gore. Or actually, you already have one.
Yeah.
Okay. I should make let's see. I wonder if there's some way I can keep track of this on the actual token. We'll say that
There is one inspiration marker on my character sheet. But it's just a yes or no thing.
yeah, I'd like to be able to see something visually on your token for me, so I don't have to open up everybody's character sheets. We'll say that this little strong looking guy right there means inspiration. And I think I gave Ander a point?
Yeah, you gave me one last time.
Okay.
Or trying to convert.
Also,
Right,
you're not,
right.
You're not
I have one
using
from the very first day.
Yeah, Julianne still has not used hers. And Yulara used hers and Warlin used hers. His. I still haven't what, Gore?
So, do I get 2 inspiration points?
No,
or
you
is
can
that
you
not-
can only have one at a time.
Okay.
Why won't this go away? Okay. And so you can use that on any D20 roll to re-roll it. All right, so you all continue on, and after, I wonder if I even made this a handout. So you travel on for about another 2 hours. It's getting to be about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the evening. And off in the distance, there are various rocky outcroppings, and off in the far, far distance, you can kind of start to see the very tops of the purple peaks of the mountains that border the very southern edge of the Sword Coast that lead into the kingdom of and in the middle, probably about 2 miles away, but it's gone down to plains now back again, even though there are various rocks around. You can see a very large butte type rocky outcropping that's a plateau. From where you're at, you estimate it to probably be between 100 and 200 feet tall, and it's very large in circumference. And based on what the guy that you interrogated told you, it would be almost exactly 10 miles from where that rocky butte is, which is where he said the raiders' camp would be. So, with that, I've got to do one thing real quick. So, I know we just started, but it's almost 9, so I would take a 5-minute break. My goal is to try and take a short, 5-minute real quick break at 9, and then another one at 10, so we have 2 real short breaks per game, if everybody's cool with that. Maybe I have a small bladder, but I always find myself having to pee, real bad for, a half an hour and just holding it. So, anyways, just a real short break, and I'll see you back here in a minute, because I've got to upload a little visual aid for y'all. Do you like the pictures that I'm like, hey, this is what it looks like where you're going through now? Okay, I'll keep doing that then.
Yeah, they're pretty cool, but Mark, you were able to pop them up, not as a window, but so that they, covered the screen.
Yeah, I believe that was like you like. Oh, it was I think Shift Z or something like that.
Because on mine, there's just a button that says "Show to players." I wonder if I zoom in on
there's
it.
a, there's a key combo that you press.
Control Z.
Not
Oh, wait,
Control Z. I think
that's
Shift
undo.
Z. I'd have to check with the shortcut keys again. It's in the advanced macros section, or in the advanced.
Okay. Yeah, I'll look into that for future reference.
I mean, it's just a little less intrusive because we don't have to close the window afterwards. We can just click anywhere.
Sure. All right. I'll see you in a minute while I upload this file. So, did everybody see the little picture that I put up? Yes. Okay.
Yep.
So that is what you see.
Okay.
You keep you keep walking along the path until you get how close?
Well, while we're walking, we should probably figure out what's our plan. Are we still going to try to sneak up into this thing, or what's the plan here?
I'm going to put you all on a different page. I'm going to see you get close enough to at least recognize the kind of what it looks like topographically. You see kind of a, you're still very distant, but you see kind of a slit in the side of the butte that's facing you. And you can tell it kind of is almost a semicircle. It goes inward and it's hollow all the way up to the top. There's no roof. It's kind of shaped like a horseshoe. A really fat horseshoe. So you all should see a bunch of black and then kind of a topographical little square.
I vote a mile away.
Okay.
Are we already closer than a mile?
No, you don't have to be. When you first saw it, I mean, it's a pretty daunting, rocky edifice. The sun is kind of starting to wane, and the wind kind of dies down. It becomes somewhat peaceful and beautiful. But yeah, you're about a mile away.
As we pull up to a stop, Warland starts talking. He says, we really need to figure out what we're going to do when we get here. We might be able to pass this guard as in, they might not know that we're new recruits because we don't have any gray robes. But that guy did say that we are new recruits from Greenest, so we might totally be able to pull it off. But he looks over at Ander and he says, I have a feeling the cult of a dragon queen is not going to like Bahamut. Just thinking out loud here.
Yeah. Maybe you should make like gray armbands out of that one cloak that you have.
To hide one's religion. Graceful at best.
You don't have to lie, you can just hide it.
And how do you propose I hide the symbol of Bahamut that is on my shield?
My suggestion is...
Well, you've got... let's see. I don't know. Everybody should look at their character sheet. I'm sorry.
You drop the shield, and you do your best to hide your religion in the name of Bahamut so that we may further benefit his grace.
I think that more than just Gore took. I know Yalara took one of the robes. I'm pretty sure I put one on Julian's character sheet.
If I have one, that's cool.
It'll be on your character sheet if you have one.
I'll make like an armband out of it.
Could Ander be our prisoner?
I think Ander was the only one that didn't take one.
I could make an armband out of mine and give him the rest of it, because I'm not wearing a whole lot of clothes.
They were purple armbands.
But are there gray armbands? I thought they were just
No,
purple.
they're purple.
Yeah, but I'm just unique.
But
And you'll die
here's
if
what
you-
I'm saying though
That's so sweet.
is he did say we're new recruits from Greenus, so I mean they might not even know us, and we could probably get by with that. But Mr. Bahamut over here ain't gonna fly.
Well, could we pretend that he's like a prisoner of some sort?
We could, but what if they
Then
take
he'll
him
also
from
be treated
us,
poorly.
and then he'll be treated? He could be hurt. What the hell is that in your hand, Alex?
It's my microphone.
Okay.
Looks like that one of the Portal 2 characters.
Mm-hmm. It's a blue ball.
Anyway, I was a little off track.
I almost got one of those.
Okay, what are we doing?
I'm just gonna keep my mind out of the gutter.
It's a snowball.
They named it that on purpose.
It's a blue snowball.
All right. Enough with the anatomical jokes that I can't be a part of.
You can be a part of them.
You're already a part of it.
Anyway.
So you all are staked out about a mile
Okay, what are we
away,
doing?
making a plan.
The
Ander, what do
cleric
you
can
wanna do?
just stay here, and we can go into the camp.
That's true.
Yeah, we could ditch you.
We could do that. So should only some of us go? And some of us not go?
If you don't have the guts to disguise
I don't know.
yourself,
The dwarf
we'll just
is
leave you
extremely
here.
quiet. What's he thinking?
The dwarf?
Or Ander is.
Ender's pondering what it is you're asking him to do, and not really sure.
Take my cloak and wear it.
I will keep my shield on my back and under a cloak if need.
I can just look like a bandit.
Wait, so you'll disguise yourself as one of the cult?
If it means getting the job done and furthering justice, then I'm. I do not believe that Bahamut would particularly care in this situation, as I am not defying his order. But I will not give up my shield.
Why don't you just leave your shield here? And we come back and get it later.
Why not? Why don't I just wear it on my back, cover it with a cloak?
Works for me.
Because that makes it easier to find.
Just see.
You can say you looted it as an excuse.
Well, I believe I will let our chatty little friend do the talking for the.
Wait a
Yeah.
second. I have some. I think covering your shield with a cloak or something would look a little suspicious. But I have some leather armor that I'm not wearing or using at all. and you could like cut out a piece of it or something to cover the shield.
I think he's saying wear the shield under Julian's cloak.
Yeah, isn't it a big shield?
Well, it's not a tower shield.
Yeah, what kind of shield is it? I mean, Anders pretty broad-shouldered. I don't know. Try it, put on the cloak, and make a deception check, and we'll see how passable it is.
It's not a tower shield.
See
No,
if it gives dimensions.
If I had to guess, I don't know, about 3 foot tall.
That's
by
pretty
about
big.
1.5 feet to 2 feet wide.
Yeah, but it's a cloak.
Yeah, but he would have to carry it around. It would look funny.
It would
I
be
will
strapped
say-
to my back.
Okay, it will
still
look
funny.
It will look somewhat funny, but only if somebody really looks at you and, is looking for something. Then, yeah, they'll probably be able to tell. But at a glance, who knows?
I don't want to risk it. I'm not going to have it. I won't let you be in my party if you wear it.
I agree, though. I mean, it's, what if they make us take our robes off because we're new recruits? What if they do? We don't know what we're walking in. You spouting your religion openly right now is not in the best of our lives if we want to continue to do this.
There's plenty of people in the cult. Probably half of them don't recognize each other. I don't think we have to worry about anybody knowing whether we're new recruits or not, or rather.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, while you guys are sitting there bickering, you see Warland walk over and sit down and pull out a kit, and he starts just digging through stuff. I'm going to go ahead and try to disguise myself to the best of the ability of what the other Cult of the Dragon Queen people look like.
Okay,
Because
so
I have a disguise kit.
Yeah, it takes a day to make a disguise in 5e.
Does it?
Yep.
I am not sure, and I don't have the crafting right in front of me, but I will say you've seen mostly human, but more or less all types of races, and they literally just look like people wearing those robes. Now the people doing the raid, and like the guy you interrogated told you, that the lower level cultists will often not wear their robes during a raid in order to confuse the guards and make them not such easy targets. It's only the devout purple armbanded people that wear their full regalia at all times. But bottom line is, to look pretty much exactly like them, you don't need to make a disguise. You just need to cut the bottom off of one of the robes to make it look like it fits you, and maybe cut the sleeves a little bit.
A little bit.
A lot of it.
Actually, I might be wrong about the disguise. I was thinking about one of the rogue class features.
There's a little bit more detailed crafting in the DMG, I think.
It just says, this pouch of cosmetic, hair dye, and small props lets you create disguises that change your physical appearance. Proficiency with this kit lets you add your proficiency bonus to any ability checks you make to create a visual disguise.
Yeah, I mean, so while you guys are making this plan, I can look up some more of the crafting stuff, but you could make a disguise, and then, I mean, people did, obviously, you fought some of the cultists, and some of them saw all of you, so there's a small chance that in the heat of battle, some of them would recognize your face if you want to change that. But for the most part, you just need to don the gray robe.
But wait, so we all have a gray robe? I thought somebody was missing.
I didn't have
You
one.
have 4 gray robes. Anders the only one who didn't take one.
Oh, Anders only one. Never mind.
Well, maybe we could just take... Well, Warland doesn't need much for his. Maybe we can just cut off a little bit of one. And he can use that as his robe.
I just need like an armband's worth.
The armband will be useless.
But I mean like just a scrap to signify like maybe it wasn't comfortable for me.
Or we could just... I don't know, can we use a robe to disguise 2 people? Like, cut it into pieces and make it look like it's a little ragged?
That's what I'm saying.
You can try.
Alright, well, Warland, you seem to be the best at making disguises, so... Maybe you could take your robe and split it between you and Ander.
Warland's no seamstress, but he takes a robe and like cuts it and makes him a robe and hands it to Ander, whatever is left.
Okay, since you're trying to make this look somewhat believable, but you are a gnome and don't need that much cloth, make a deception check with advantage. Looks pretty freaking good. Anders' robe, he's got most of the robe, and it comes down a little shorter than most of the other ones, comes down like just above the knee, maybe mid-thigh. And Warland takes the part of the bottom that he's cut off and kind of just drapes it over himself and kind of, pulls up some, long grass or somehow fastens sort of sleeves out of it so it looks more like a smock than anything. But at first glance, it doesn't look bad. The only difference is that Warland's does not have the 5-pointed star on the back of it. All the rest of them have a 5-pointed star on the back, except for the very tips of the star are slightly kind of curved.
What color is that star again?
It is yellow.
Oh.
Can we just paint one on there?
Do you have yellow paint?
I would suppose I had yellow makeup.
Probably not yellow.
Disguise.
Is there a flower around that I?
Why not? Yellow's a primary color.
Yeah, but makeup
Blonde
is
hair
skin
dye.
toned. I mean, you could put maybe some skin tone smudges on there.
Is there a flower around that we could turn into dye?
Make for either survival or investigation. Or nature. Is there nature? I still don't even know all the skills.
Yes.
Yeah, so nature.
I see nature, but I'm not proficient in that one.
I'll look for it.
$16 for a yellow flower. Yeah, I mean, since you're still partially in the green fields, yes, you can find some yellow flowers there, like dandelions growing around. So now you got some yellow flowers.
Okay, I don't know what to do with that.
Exactly.
Well, Orlin, you know how to make turn plants into dyes, right?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't. Is anyone an alchemist? Oh,
I am.
and I think Yalara also has either an alchemist kit or some sort of.
I have an herbalist kit.
Oh, okay, that's different. But that might help.
I
I'm a
am
druid.
an alchemist by trade. Kind of more of a hobby,
Right.
something to help pay the bills. I will turn your flour into gold paint. Anders gonna whip around to his backpack and pull out his kit.
You have an
Mortar
alchemy
and
kit?
pestle. Do what?
You have an alchemy kit?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so you kind of get some...
Double check. I'm pretty sure I put that in here.
Okay, so you kind of get some, you know, dirt and kind of spit in there and grind it around with your mortar and pestle. And since Yalara has some knowledge of the flour and everything, I'll let her aid you on this, which will give you advantage on the check.
Okay.
So, what would... Let's see...
How long is this going to take? 'Cause
I'm just gonna say it. I mean, it's gonna take an hour. He's not making like a full disguise or anything. So much like with the cape, with the since you are making this to deceive, to check how realistic it is, you can make a deception check or you can make a nature check. With advantage, because Yalara's kind of standing over your shoulder, being like, "Yeah, grind that part. It's got the most pigment in it, whatever."
So either a deception or a nature.
Yeah, unless
Right. Well,
there's...
they're both the same, so I guess I'll just go with.
should have looked for some mustard seed, not yellow flour.
Crap. Oh.
Yeah, it's I mean, it looks kind of like it. You know, you kind of smear it on the back of Warland's cloak, and it looks kind of like it.
Does it make it worse than it was before?
No, it doesn't make it worse than it was before, but it doesn't make it a whole lot better. Maybe a little bit. It might lower the DC for your disguise checks in the camp a little bit. But at this point, as you're kind of looking at Warland's cloak and Anders' short cloak, it's kind of like, not sure.
Looks good to me.
Not sure if this looks like we're more cultists or like we're trying really hard to look like cultists.
Well, so we either disguise ourselves or what else could we do?
Well, we just wasted an hour disguising ourselves.
I mean,
It was not a waste.
It's like 5:30. The sun's kind of sinking, you know.
Right, but I think we want to get ahead of the rear guard.
The rear guard did say they were stationed there until nightfall. And they were all wearing robes.
Well, one
That's true.
could
Maybe
argue,
we could-
everybody, that we could wait until nightfall when they fall asleep, head back, and relieve them of their burdening possessions.
Wait, did they say they were going to sleep there or come back at nightfall?
Yeah, I kind of screwed that up. Originally I said, yeah, we're stationed here till night, And then he said, oh, wait, we're stationed here till dawn, but I'll probably go to sleep in the middle of the night. So since I kind of gave you guys two different answers, I'm going to say that they are there. He told you they were stationed there until dawn, so they're supposed to watch the night through. But since you all said you were the last stragglers, he's not really too worried. So he's like, yeah, I'll probably take a nap. Somebody might come through, but they didn't seem too competent. So they are going to be there till dawn, but he did say I might take a nap.
So, do you guys want to go back, or do you feel comfortable with your disguises?
Warland spins around and says, I look pretty good.
I don't really know. I guess.
Wait, what did we do with your shield again?
I'm putting it on my back.
Under the cloak. It's gonna look
Under
good.
the cloak. What else?
Well, you could cover it with this leather armor I've been dragging around.
Leather armor.
You can leave it here.
Leather armor won't cover a shield. I mean, unless he holds it or leather armor fits relatively tight against your body.
Yeah, but I'm not using it, and I don't mind cutting it.
Oh, you're saying
it
make
here.
like a big patch or something?
Yeah, basically like cutting the armor so it opens up.
User disconnected
Just
from your
use that.
channel.
Wait, so say that again? I
User
don't know if my
joined your
mic was
channel.
going off or my headset was going out. What are we doing here? We're going in?
Presumably.
Okay.
All right, so you all want to start heading further in towards. You got about a mile to go. You want to start heading towards the butte with your kind of ragtag disguise. But it doesn't look that bad. If somebody really scrutinized it, they'd probably be able to tell that you were deceiving, but it doesn't look that bad. So you all head out, and all right, about another, only takes you about 20 minutes to walk that mile, and now you're getting up relatively close to the camp. You can see that at the front, right at the mouth of where it kind of opens up into the middle, there's a tower that's been constructed out of wood that's probably about 20 feet tall, and you can kind of look through the mouth of the horseshoe to the back, and you see little dots of fires starting to be lit, and some different tents are kind of all scattering the internal hollow of this horseshoe rock formation. The rock does go fairly straight up, but it's also pretty craggy. It looks like there are handholds. It looks like it would be actually relatively easy to climb. In the back, you can see on the very top back of the horseshoe, there's another guard tower identical to the one at the mouth that's about 20 feet tall. And you're not close enough to see individual features, but you can see that there is movement and there are figures moving about in the camp, and you can kind of faintly hear, it kind of almost sounds like a party, like people are laughing, and kind of sounds like a celebration almost.
Well, they did just sack a town.
Yep.
And get away with it. For now.
And it is indeed, the rock is about 150 feet high, but it does slope up on the outside. So it looks like it would be relatively climbable with not too much trouble. So do you all want to just keep walking on down the path into the camp, or?
I like rock climbing.
Is it getting dark now?
Let's see. You only walked about another 20 minutes, so it's getting to be on 6 o'clock. It's starting to be sunset. The sun is sinking very low on the horizon, but you probably have about another half an hour until actual dusk, and then probably about another hour until it's totally dark.
So why don't we just wait until it gets dark so it's more difficult to recognize us?
Huh?
Okay, so after a while, the sounds of celebration kind of continue, and the sun sinks lower and lower until it's dark. It's probably about 8 o'clock now, and you can see several fires, large fires glowing, and some other smaller fires kind of illuminating various tents. And through the hour and a half that you've been watching, hour and a half, 2 hours, you've seen figures come down the ladder of the top guard post and go back up right around sunset. And it's pretty dark outside. From way, way back in the distance, the way you came, you hear very high-pitched howling of wolves, but it sounds a little different than wolves. A little louder, but it's back much further the way that you came behind you.
Damn goblins.
So, do you guys want to climb up and take out the guards, or what's the plan here when we get into this? Are we going to break that dude out, or are we just going to see that he's in here?
We could set up a camp on the top and just observe them.
Yeah, I mean, isn't this an opportunity to learn more?
Well, it's dark out, right? We could just walk right into the camp.
It's dark. It's fair. It's like I was saying, there are quite a few fires inside, and there are tons of tents. So it is dark, but the inside is certainly dim light. If not, if you get close to a fire, it's, pretty bright.
Well, we just won't go near the fires then.
Should we split up and just kind of see what we can see and meet back at a certain place at a certain time?
It's a possibility.
Well, you all do have your little objective handout. Just a reminder, the primary mission that Night Hill sent you on was to collect information where the camp is, the names of their leaders, how many there are, and what they are doing, I think, if I remember rightly.
Okay, then I'm gonna go up to the guard towers and see how they have that all situated to raise an alarm. So I'm gonna climb the towers. Okay,
the tower is actually, so as you're kind of walking towards the entrance of this horseshoe and the outcropping, the rocky rise plateau starts to form on either side of you, you can see that the guard tower is set back slightly. There are tents kind of right next to it. And let's see if I can do this properly. So you're coming in from the northwest, actually. And you start to get closer and closer, and you can see some different tents and things. So you can see that you won't be able to get there's activity going on. The guard tower isn't set out far in front of the camp. If to approach the tower, you're going to have to walk past some of these figures, the silhouettes that you can see with the kind of flickering firelights behind them.
That's fine. I mean, whenever we go into the camp, that's my objective, is what I'm telling the party.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm ready to walk straight into the camp.
Okay. So
Do it.
you're entering from right up in this. Why is my thing not working? You're entering from right up in this general vicinity. I'm assuming everybody can see the little revealed area up here at the top. As you get to the top, or as you kind of start to enter the camp, there's a pretty drunk guard standing right on the side of the path, and he's like, "Oi, you all have... Why are you all so late? You're not part of the rear guard that we sent out there. What's your story?" And he just kind of scans bleary-eyed over all of you. You're a short little fella. And you guys are all sizes. And he kind of stumbles forward a little bit.
We're obviously late to the party, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
What's going on?
Where's the booze?
All the boods in the foods tent. Help yourself. And he just kind of waves you past, and he goes, "Hail to you, Matt," as you walk past. So,
Hail to you, Matt.
as you enter the camp, you can see a little bit more that the this kind of front area here. There's tents that are just kind of very shoddily put together. There's large bones or large posts kind of holding them up, and all you see are kobolds that are kind of scurrying in between these tents. They're kind of bickering over food and generally causing a ruckus, but all you see in this front area are kobolds. They've got entrails kind of strewn about, and their skulls kind of hanging from their tents. Everything's very shoddy looking, and there's just like waste and poop and stuff all over in between the tents. And the tents that you see are just clusters of tents. They actually represent more tents than are actually there. You see easily 100 kobolds scurrying back and forth in this area. And they kind of, as you pass, they kind of give you a wide berth and are like, stinking humans, why are you so late? And they're just kind of, they're giving you a wide berth, but they're spitting insults at you, and you can tell that they are really not fond of humans. So as you pass through this first area between the first section of tents and the guard tower, Warlin, do you want to peel off and try and climb the guard tower?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Julian looks for
whatever.
the food tent.
You made like you said there was like a thing that had like handles and stuff to go up that had people going up and down at sunrise, right?
There's just a straight ladder built onto the ladder's not built into any, or I'm sorry, the tower's not built into anything. It's just on large wooden stilts, and it's about 20 feet tall. There's a ladder going straight up it. As you kind of walk across it, you can look up and see that there are two kobolds up at the top, just kind of looking down at you. Everybody.
Well, wait. I mean, so it's literally a guard tower. Like, it's not a big rock clay face.
No, it is a constructed guard tower.
Oh, okay.
I
thought it was like a perched, like a rock jutted out. Okay,
no,
never
it's
mind.
something that
I don't want to do that then.
It's very purposefully made specifically to guard this camp. It's pretty obvious. Let's see. Everyone. Trying to find my notes here. Oh, I can just zoom in. Everyone make a charisma check. You can add your deception, so you can make a deception roll if you're not skilled in deception, just a regular charisma check. And Ander and Warlin will make it at disadvantage.
Oh, man. That sucks.
Not as bad as Yalara. Yalara's like half turning into a fox or something.
Not as bad as Julianne.
No. Only Ander and Warlin had it at disadvantage because their costumes are kind of...
Oh, okay.
But, so, that was a group check. And, since he was so drunk, it was a really easy check. Only Yalara failed it. So, you all pass into the camp. As you kind of make your way through, you can see just clusters of tents to your right and left, kobolds just fighting and drinking and, pooping out in the middle of the, they're pretty disgusting. Far over to your right, up against the wall, you can see 5 horses hitched to a hitching post in between kind of clusters of the kobolds camp. And as you go a little further in, you see a somewhat large tent off to your left.
Is this a food tent?
Yes, people are kind of gathered around there with, turkey legs and different things. You can see a young girl, probably about 14, that's all dressed in rags and is fairly well bloodied. Both of her eyes are black, running around and with these large clay plates trying to serve all these cultists. Most of them now the cultists, the tent only has cultists in it. There are no kobolds in the tent. And
are there any gray cloak people in there?
Yes, when I say cultists, everyone here, literally everyone except the kobolds, is wearing a gray cloak. A few of them have purple armbands, but everyone else you see, there are varying sizes. There are some dwarves, most of them are humans, but everyone is wearing a gray cloak. Every once in a while, in the kind of mass of drinking people, you see one of the black armored 5-pointed dragon claw officers that the guy that you interrogated last time told you about, and that you saw leading the charge at the front of the sanctuary when you all rescued all of those villagers. But there's only 1 or 2 of those that you can see so far. So you certainly recognize that as the food tent.
Julian grabs a handful of beer and says, "Another round for everyone," and starts passing them out.
Do the gray cloaks have a hood on them?
They do. Some of their hoods are up and some of their hoods are down. But there is a hood on all of the whoops, I'm moving stuff that I did not mean to move.
Okay, my hood is definitely up.
Okay.
I don't know if that gives me some kind of advantage on something.
Okay.
Never mind.
As you all get close enough to the food tent, you can go ahead. You can see through to the back of the. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying to reveal areas here, but it doesn't seem to be working. Okay. You all can see through to the back of the horseshoe area as you approach the food tent. Julian's like another round for my friends. And they're like, oh, you're a right tall lass. I bet you can drink your fair share. Thanks for the pint. Let me know if you want to have a drinking contest.
I've already had 2 gallons. As she slurs her words.
And everybody around you just like, hail to you, Matt, hail to you, Matt, hail to you, Matt. Blah.
And she continues to pass out beer to everyone.
And,
especially the ones that look important.
Okay, and you can see kind of that servant girl that you saw that's fairly severely beaten, running around trying to serve drinks and serve people off this plate, and people are taking drinks from her and pushing her aside and, you know, treating her generally very poorly. As you come up to the counter, Julian, you can see in the back there are 7 more humans not wearing cloaks, and they're all relatively...
sober?
They're all completely sober. They're all beaten. They've all got bloody noses and just scrapes and bruises all over them. They're wearing tatters, and they're working literally as fast as they can, stoking these fires, turning the spit. Someone's chopping up, a pig. The other one's getting, filling glasses of ale out of this large, it's bigger than a keg. It's this giant thing of ale. And there are 2 of the black armored dragon claws, the guys with the 5-pointed masks, kind of standing there next to them. And anytime somebody falls down or tries to take a drink or tries to take a rest for a second, they have these whips, and they whip them and, just create slashes across the backs of these people. And they hurry up and start working faster. None of the servants speak at all, but, when you were approaching, you could see that the tents beyond the food and drink tent are all very clean looking. There's no refuse around. There's no skulls hanging out, and that is where you see all of the gray cloaked figures. And there's a smattering of purple armbanded ones among them, and some of them have their cloaks buttoned, and some of them have their cloaks open, and you can see chainmail underneath them. And then in the very back, you can see the other guard tower up about 150 feet with a ladder coming down the side of the cliff face towards it. And at the base of that, you see a very large tent with 4 guards with spears and 4 very dragon-like looking dragon dogs, for a lack of a better word. You've seen some like this before in Greenest, but these are much bigger, and they have horns coming out of their noses, almost like a dragon rhinoceros looking things. There's one posted at each corner of the very large tent. In the very back, you see a fairly large cave opening, and there are some wagons parked outside and some wheelbarrows. And then I think that's probably all that you can see directly from right now.
This is just getting more complex by the moment.
So, you all are in the food and drink tent. Everybody seems too drunk to really care or notice. Everybody's just kind of having a good time. People are passed out. What do you want to do?
I want to bring some food and drink to the guards at the tall tower. They're probably hungry.
At the tower up top?
Yeah.
Okay. So what do? Do you just there's like a counter. It's almost like a bar, and people are going up and getting their drinks and stuff, and there are some people sitting getting served by these servants. How do you want to get your food?
I just go behind the counter and grab some.
Okay. As soon as you go behind the counter, one of the black-clad, 5-pointed mask guys puts his hand out and says, "This is slave work. We don't need your help back here," and kind of pushes you back.
Well, then, can you send some refreshments and food up to the guard tower?
He looks at you and he's like, "Oh, You're bringing dinner to the guards in the tower. All right. Servant girl, and he like cracks his whip on the back of this old lady. And she like feebly turns around and is like, grab those two turkey legs and put them on a platter for this. And she does it and gives it to you.
Okay. I ask for some beer as well then.
Okay. He whips her again and it's like, don't forget the ale. This is food and drink for your betters. And she quickly hurries and fills 2 mugs and gives them to you.
I thank the black man.
He doesn't respond. Okay.
With like a grunt.
You thank him with a grunt?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
He still doesn't respond. Okay, so you wanna take off towards the rear guard tower.
Yes.
Okay, so you go scurrying off. As you get to right about here, I gotta remember to switch my tools. As you get to right about here, going towards the ladder, the guards and the drake dragon dog looking things kind of turn and face you kind of suspiciously, but just watch you go. As you look past them, you can see the silhouette of a figure tied to a post right here in kind of this middle area.
I hate to ask this, but are we coming up to a 5-minute break for time soon?
Yes, we are. So,
Okay.
Alex, you see this figure tied to a post. The guards around the large tent are very suspiciously, kind of watchfully surveying Julian as you walk towards the base of the ladder. What would the rest of you like to do as you're milling around in this kind of seething mass of cultist stink?
Anders gonna count heads and back to an escape route.
Count heads and what?
Back to what he would
You're
if
cutting in and out.
Again?
No, it's not that bad. It's just every once in a while you count heads and look for your path of egress should things go sour, basically.
Yes.
Okay. In this tent, there's probably about 30 cultists. It's not a huge tent, but they're all kind of packed in there. And like I said, there were estimated 100-ish kobolds in the front of the camp that you walked through. Warlin, what are you doing?
Warlin is gonna see if he can. Well, first he's just gonna blend in, so he's gonna get a drink, and he's gonna go find a table where there's gambling, if there is any gambling going on.
There's absolutely gambling going on. Okay, you go sit at a gambling table.
I'm gonna join in and just start having random, like the chit chat of a brother.
Okay.
Say, I guess.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna try to find out to see if maybe there's any talk of the next town we're gonna raid or
sure we'll roleplay that out.
Anything like that.
We will roleplay that out after the break. Gore, what are you doing?
I'm actually going to go stand outside the tent, and I'm looking to see if there's anybody out there who would notice if I do anything. Also, I'm looking down here. Is that like a little outlet, sort of?
Yeah. No, that's not an outlet. As you look down there, you can see a pretty sturdily crafted wooden pin with some of the smaller dragon lizard-looking things that you encountered in Greenest, and some of the larger dragon, almost rhinoceros-looking things in there. There's about 3 large ones and 8 small ones. There's a half-orc with a very tattered, ill-fitting robe, kind of half drunk asleep on a chair in front of that drake pin. Yalara, what are you doing?
Well, despite the fact that I know I should probably be actively looking for, things to do, I feel myself really drawn into the drinking going on, and I'm wondering if I might get some for myself, even though maybe I need to be thinking about other things, but it's kind of overpowering how it's drawing me in. I really want some.
All right, so you head up to the bar and get yourself a drink, and just like as soon as it hits your lips, you just like down it voraciously. You do not already have a point of inspiration, and just because I know your character's flaw, I will give you one for that. And with that, we will take a break and play out everyone's individual choices when we come back. So, take a 5.
All right, sound good.
Before we get into everybody's individual little, I don't know what to call them, side quests. Let's see, who approached the... Let's see. Julian, Warlin, and Yalara all went up to the bar. Make a perception check, the 3 of you. And Warlin. Corey? Is his headphone off? Can everybody hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. I think Corey, something's happened to Corey. All right, well. Hello? No hearing. Corey doesn't hear us.
User disconnected from your channel.
Hello?
User joined your channel.
Hello? 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 We should all just periodically, throughout the rest... Okay, so you both, Yalara and Julian, recognize some of the people behind the bar as greenest people. Not all of them, but some of them you recognize. Of course, you obviously didn't see everyone
User
in town.
disconnected from your channel.
So Julian, you approach the base of the ladder to climb up to the guard tower, correct?
Yes.
All right. You go ahead and climb up. You kind of have the food in one hand, and you're climbing the 150-foot ladder with the other. But since you obviously have some cooking previous experience, that doesn't seem to be too much of a problem for you.
I've got them waitress skills.
Exactly. So you get up to the top of the guard tower, and you see 2 guards. They're both wearing open gray cloaks. They both have chainmail on underneath them, and they turn around and they say, "We haven't seen you around before. Where's the normal girl that brings us our food?"
She's quite busy, if you can't tell.
All right. It's odd that they'd make one of us do such a menial task as this. You must be a new recruit. We haven't seen one.
I'm quite partial to the stars. It's a little busy down there.
Well, you must be old Chelmsford's girlfriend or something.
User joined your channel.
You're the only other half-orc we've seen around here.
All right.
He's a drunk, isn't he? He's already passed out.
And after you say that, the guard kind of looks over the edge down towards the kind of northwest down onto the Drake pin, and the half-orc. Yes, we hear you, Corey. And the half-orc that was asleep in front of there, he looks down and is like, "Oh yeah, old Chelmsford's already passed out. Are you any relation of his?"
Not yet.
Not yet. Oh, I guess it must be a rare find to find another half-orc around. All right, well, give us our food.
I pass over the food and drinks.
Okay. He's like, when did you join up? Like I said, I don't remember seeing you around here before.
About 2 raids ago.
2 raids ago? What? This was... So were you in Berdousk? Were you in Greenest? Were you in from one of the villages?
Mostly just wandered around and found the guy.
Found the guy. Make a deception check with disadvantage.
Oh gosh.
You have no bloody idea what you're talking about, do you?
No.
No, that's right, you don't.
Half-orc, not smart.
Herman, sound the alarm. I
What?
think we've got an intruder.
No! I thought you were here.
Roll initiative.
Everybody or just
Julian.
Just Julian.
As that happens, one of the guards kind of starts turning towards the horn. He's still a little unsure, so actually, you don't roll initiative yet. I'm going to give you a surprise round when we come back to you.
Okay.
Next person to act was Ander or Warlin. I think it was Warlin. I'm just trying to focus on everybody here. All right, so Warlin, you grab a mug of ale and find a table. Everyone's all kind of crowded around this one table, and they're playing a card game. They're just playing some version of poker. And what do? There's about 5 normal cultists on each side of this table, and 1 purple armbanded guy sitting at the head of the table.
Well, I'm gonna get into a game and sit down and pull out my coin purse and drop a couple down and say, "I'm next."
All right, so you kind of, since you're small, you kind of squeeze your way in between a human and a rather comely female dwarf, and you kind of weasel your way in between there, and you plop down some coins. And she says, "Oh, another little person. I'm a little taller than you, but it's not too many people our size around here." And she kind of moves over and gives you a little room. And the purple armbanded guy at the top of the table kind of glares at you a little bit. He doesn't seem drunk. There's only about 3 or 4 of the purple armbanded guys in here. And he says, "All right, we'll deal you in next hand."
Oh, it's cards, not dice?
It's card. Did I say dice?
I was looking for dice games.
No, it's
said gambling.
It's a card game.
Gambling. Okay, cards.
It's a card game.
That works. So I turned to the dwarf lady. Yeah, there's not too many of us, but I have a particular successful skill. And I reach up and I do the typical magic trick. Oh, hold on, let me see if I got anything good in my inventory. Hold on here. Oh, no, that's a good idea.
Apparently you can actually draw cards.
No, what's this card thing?
What kind of tricks can you do?
Well, I look around. Is she holding a drink, or she got anything
Oh yeah,
really,
she's got a hand of cards in her left hand, which is closest to you, and she's got a mug of ale in her right hand.
What about a earrings or anything like a pin or anything that I could take easily?
No.
without her noticing.
No, in fact, none of the people that you've seen have any sort of personal accoutrement or adornment other than the gray cloak.
So I'll guess they're kind of tucked away. All right, well, I'm going to wave my hand like to distract her, and then I'm going to lean forward and take one of her cards and say, well, take one of your cards, of course, and show it to her.
All right, make a sleight of hand check.
Skills.
All right. She looks at your one hand as you kind of flutter it up in the air, and then when she looks back down towards you, you're holding one of her cards, and she goes, "Oh my, you do have quick hands, don't you?"
They don't call me Quickfoot for nothing, my dad.
Oh, quick feet. I don't know if I'm familiar with that. Perhaps you could show me later. But she also, and then her face kind of narrows to a frown, and she's like, "I guess it's all right because you're not in this hand, but don't touch my cards again," and snatches it back from you.
Hey, if you would hurry up and finish this game and get me in, I won't need to take your cards from you anymore.
Okay, so they deal out and kind of play out the hand, and next hand that they give you, they deal you in, and everybody antes, but, well, I'm just going to say they ante a copper piece. I don't know how much coin you have, if any.
Warland sees that they're dealing copper pieces, and he looks down at his hand. He says, "Well, boys, all I've got is silver. Is it time to raise the ante, or you guys got change?"
Everybody looks at you and is like, "Why do you have a silver piece?" Though the purple armbanded guy looks at you and is like, "Anything larger than a copper piece is supposed to go in the cave, per Mondath's instructions. Are you keeping loot for yourself?"
Warland flips it up in the air and he says, "Well, no, but I just now realized that this is silver and not copper. You got to forgive me. I may be quick, but I also kind of I have a little bit trouble with colors. And until I seen your copper coins, I didn't realize I had a silver coin."
Ah, colorblind gnome, of course. Make a deception check. All right. We'll let it slide that once. Hand over any silver you have.
Warland
Cyan.
quickly
No, I'm
pockets the
sorry,
rest of his gold, his silver, and hands over the one coin.
And the guy, it kind of looked like he was holding out his hand, but he retracts it as soon as you offer him the silver piece, and he says, "No, take that right now to Cyan Wrath." And then he just watches you.
Well, who's Cyan Wrath?
Don't say that.
How were you initiated and not know who Cyan Wrath is?
You know, my short stature, I only noticed his shins.
That makes sense, since he's an 8-foot tall blue half-dragon.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure I could pick him out, though. And Gorlin quickly jumps up and walks away.
He watches you go. As he does, he sees the hastily crafted yellow star on the back of your cloak. Make another deception check. I'm not heartless, so I'm not going to give you disadvantage, but... Okay. He lets you go, but he's like, "I've got my eye on you, gnome." All right, so you head off. I don't know if I mentioned it because I was trying to do a voice and all that business, but he said that Cyan Wrath was the large blue half dragon, so that's who you're looking for. Very similar to the large blue half dragon you saw beat down Gore twice in the front of the, with one strike no less. Speaking of which, Gore, you kind of surreptitiously fade into the crowd and out the back of the tent towards the middle of the camp. You can see, like I said, off to in the little alcove that would be to your left, the way you're facing right now, is a drunk half-orc sitting in front of a pen of drakes. And there doesn't seem to be too many people wandering around. It seems like everybody's kind of celebrating in the tent. In fact, I have some sounds specially for that. So you can kind of hear their tavern chatter. You do see kind of in this huddle of tents about 10 of the gray robe figures, but they all have purple armbands. And it looks like they're sitting in rows down on the ground, and one guy's up in front of them kind of talking, and he keeps doing this gesture to them, and you can kind of hear him murmuring. It looks like they're having some sort of meeting or they're listening to a speech from him, but their backs are all turned to you. They're all facing south.
Okay. For some reason, whenever you try to indicate something, I don't see it. I don't know.
That's probably because I'm not doing a very good job. Can you see the ping?
No.
It should be a red ping. Oh, because I have the DM info layer selected. How about now?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. This in front of this tent is kind of where they're at. Again, these tents are representative of many smaller tents, except for the big one at the back. Yes, that's kind of where the little church service is going on. You're standing somewhere kind of right around here at the corner of the food tent. And those are the only other cultists that you can see right now.
Okay,
Is
so
that chatter
I'm gonna
super
go down. I'm gonna walk over to little. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go over to the guy who's sitting next to the pens. You said there was a guy there, right?
Uh-huh.
And I'm gonna go up and talk to him.
Okay. He's passed out. He's just kind of slouched over in this chair. There's a little drool coming down. He looks somewhat similar to Julian, being a half-orc.
Okay, I'm gonna nudge him with my foot.
Okay.
Does he wake up?
Hey, what you want?
So, is Mondath still alive?
Course Mondath is alive. I don't think anybody could kill her. And kind of wipes his eye and looks around. Is like, oh, it's feeding time for the drakes. And he's got this little like pan flute looking whistle around his neck, and he kind of holds it up to his lips and blows a little note, and then just kind of slumps back down. And he's just kind of staring at you bleary-eyed.
Okay. Is it clear what the whistle is for?
Not yet. He said it was feeding time and blew a whistle.
Did the drakes react to it at all?
Not really. They're all kind of, they're just milling about. They seem relatively calm. But after about 10 seconds, you see a small, probably 12-year-old boy run out with a giant platter of raw, like barely even shorn sheep. Like it's just kind of hacked up meat. And he runs over as much as he can. He's carrying huge, probably 50 pounds of meat. And he runs from the food tent over. And as soon as he gets at about 20 feet, you can see all the drakes kind of lift their noses up into the air. And then they all start scrambling and freaking out. The half-orc stands up and he's like, "Hey, boy. You know what to do. Slop it over the side." And the boy in his haste is running and trips and falls and spills the meat all over at the feet of the half-orc. And he's like, "Oh, boy. Why'd you have to go and do that right in front of our friend here? What's your name again? Are you one of Mondas's lovers or something?" "I'm sorry, if you're a friend of hers, please forgive this little boy. He's just little boy. Now, you've got a Drake's food all dirty. What are we gonna feed him now?" And just with one fell swoop, he kind of lifts the boy up by the crotch and throws him into the Drake pit. And he just screams in bloody murder as they tear him limb from limb. And he's like, "Oh, waste of good food if you ask me." And just sits back down on his chair. "Well, that be all. Don't tell her I was too drunk on the job. Tell her I did good by feeding my slave to the drakes. She loves the drakes, for I give them good, strong human meat for a treat. Tell her that if you see her." And he's just sitting there staring at you, wobbling around.
Okay, so I'm gonna look around. Are there any other people around? Besides those up in the guard tower?
Not that you can see. The sides of the food tent are open, so technically you can see them, but there's light. There's some fires burning around the outside of there. But as far as you can see, there's no one around. You would know that there's a guard tower above you. And you hear some faint voices from up there being like, "Hey, who are you?
Well, I would have seen that Julianne went up to the guard tower.
Yes, she's up there talking to them.
Okay. I'm gonna knock out the half-orc.
Okay. Go ahead and, he's just sitting there. Actually, you don't even have to roll an attack. You're gonna hit him. Let's see. Not sure how to do trying to knock someone out in one hit. I don't remember any rules for that. So, we will just say, he's so drunk at this point. In the future, if you try and knock out a sober person, I may have some different rules, but for right now, he's so drunk that you just kind of clock him on the head and he just slumps over. You don't know if he's necessarily knocked out totally or just passed out again from being so drunk, but he seems pretty out. And the drakes are still kind of squabbling over the scraps of the little boy that got thrown into the pit.
Alright, so I'm gonna start searching the half-orc to see what he's got on him.
Just a robe. He's got a robe. He's got a little kind of looks like a dog whistle almost, and that's it. There's no There's no lock or anything on the gate to the pen. There's just a little latch. I say little latch, it's a pretty large iron latch, but it's just a hook and eye type deal. But he does have a tattered half work size robe. Alright, while Gore thinks about what to do, Ander, you had yourself a drink and then kind of...
Ander wouldn't have had anything to drink.
Oh, right. You didn't approach the bar. Oh, you took a head count and backed off to the side looking for your routes of egress. So you step a few feet outside of the tent and you can pretty clearly see the entire camp from where you're at. Some of the tents obscure some of the more eastern and southern areas, but there are boulders and shrubbery kind of all around the base. There are a few small, what look like caves or just kind of alcove type things dotting the face of the cliffs. But the only real routes that you can see that are actually out of this place are the way that you came in at the front and that ladder at the back that Julian went up. And you do see about there are about 30 cultists or so inside there. You also see the kind of macabre church service going on over here with the purple armbands, the acolytes as they are being referred to. You've overheard, but they all look stone cold sober.
Ander's just gonna kind of look, see if he recognizes anywhere where they might be holding prisoners of kind of like, are there any cages somewhere filled with people, or?
You don't see anything like that. I will say you're fairly far away, but you might be able to see something through some of the tops of the tents. Make a perception check.
Oh,
yeah,
God, these dice hate me.
It does not look like they're anything that would denote prisoners other than the slaves that you have seen.
All right. Guess there's not really gonna want to stray too far from Warland. Warland's still in the food tent trying to play games.
Yeah, Warland and Yulara are still in there.
Yeah, well, yeah, in your instance, I guess I am, but you see me get up and start walking out.
Oh, right, you do see, yeah, Warland gets up and walks out and kind of sidles up next to you, so you two are kind of together again.
Oh, I'm gonna kind of look at Warland and just be like, this is not really my area of expertise. I'm gonna have to defer my judgment of things to do.
Come with me. And they both walk out of the tent, hopefully. Warland keeps continuing to walk out.
Yeah, you guys are outside of the tent. You know you're supposed to find someone named Cyan Wrath, who's the large blue half-dragon. Where do you head to?
Well, I'm not going to go find Signwrath, that's for damn sure.
Oh, okay. That's probably wise. All right, well, while they ponder that, Yulara, you are just downing the nectar of the gods in there.
I feel great. Really great. In fact, I haven't felt this great since... Ugh, I don't want to think about that. I just want to keep feeling great.
Okay. So do you just want to sit there and keep drinking? Oh, push to talk.
now that I've had a few, I'm like pretty buzzed. So I wouldn't say I'm totally blackout drunk yet, but I'm kind of looking around and like, my senses are heightened, all the chatter and the conversation, and I guess I'm wondering if I'll see anything since I'm,
Sure. We've been standing there a while, and after not too long, this a humanoid female comes over to you. Humanoid. She's human. And she's like, "Hey there, Missy. Looks like you can drink. Ain't too many of us girls around here, you know."
I know. Say a little too loud.
Everybody kind of looks at you. Whatever. We're all drunk. So I haven't seen you around before. What's your story?
I don't think we've had the pleasure of meeting. I'm Sandy.
Hello, Sandy. That's a lovely name. My name is Michaela.
Nice to meet you.
When did you join up?
Oh, not long ago. How about you?
Oh, I joined up probably about a year ago. I think I was probably one of the first.
Really?
Yeah, for having so many female leaders, though, it's very difficult to work your way into taking the ritual to become an acolyte. I've wanted one of those purple armbands for a long time. I've been on raid after raid. Last night's was the biggest, though. That's the biggest one we've ever done. There must be...
Raid after raid? Wait. There's been several raids?
I'm winging it here. Maybe she doesn't say raid after
maybe
raid.
Like smaller raids doing, like maybe with them before
You're not even here, Julian.
I'm just... The argument didn't sound valid.
He doesn't even go here.
You're right. Maybe the guys that you're talking to went to a different school. Maybe they'll have girlfriends from Canada that you've never met and you wouldn't know.
It's the women that are getting questioned here. It's unjust.
That's true. Well, she's explaining that it's a sexist regime. Yeah, there's so many leaders. Resmir and Mondath are both females, and yet there are no female dragon claws. There are no female acolytes that I've seen, at least. And I've been here for a while. You're not too talkative, are you, sweetheart? Maybe you should just have some more of your ale. You seem to be enjoying yourself.
No. Your story just really piques my interest. So, what do you think it does take, besides being a man, to become an acolyte? And now I'm kind of leaning in a little too close to her a little bit.
Well, I'm not sure. I don't know why they pick who they pick. Some get promoted fast. Some even become wearers of the purple within a few months. But I do know to get one of those purple armbands, you have to drink the blood.
What?
Yeah, you have to drink dragon's blood. You have to. Then you're on your road to becoming a dragon claw, and then you got to declare your color. And we've all, of course, Resmir's a black dragon, so we've only got black dragon claws around here. But
well, what about the and I want to talk about the blue half dragon we saw, and I'm not totally sloshed enough to. I mean, I'm still sober enough to realize, like, okay, if I don't know his name, I'm gonna sound fake. So I'm like, kind of scrambling. What about the? Sorry, I actually joined up in greenness. What about the blue half dragon? I saw.
Yeah, well, his name's really hard to pronounce. He's the one who gave you your robes and all that. Cyan Wrath, Langdragosa Cyan Wrath. He's Mondath's right-hand man, and I don't know. I don't really trust him. He's always on about honor and following the rules and, just challenging people to duels all the time. Like, I don't know if you saw that shit show over in at the front gate after Mondath had already called the retreat from being shot by a ballista. I'd never seen her wounded before. But yeah, I wouldn't trust him too much, sweetie. If you see Mondath, I mean, she's holed up in the cave all the time, but if you see her, talk to her if you need anything.
Thank you. I definitely will. I mean, she's gotta know what it's like, being a girl in a man's world and all.
I should imagine so. I've never even said more than a few sentences to her. She's fairly reclusive, but anyways, go back to drinking your ale, and I'll do the same.
Well, it was nice chatting with you, Michaela.
Thank you, Sandy. It's an awful lot of syllables. And she kind of turns around and walks back away. You kind of sidle up back to the bar with your drink. All right, good job for your first little role play session there, Allison. All right, Julian. The guards say. The guards basically don't trust you, and they're gonna sound the alarm. You've got one.
Yeah.
One round to do what you can.
I'm gonna try to push them into the second pit.
That is an excellent idea. All right, roll a. You want to do them both at once, or how do you want to do this?
Well, the one that looks like it's going for the horn. I'm assuming there's not two horns.
No, there's only one horn.
These days.
It's mounted kind of onto. It's a large. It looks like a big kind of bull horn or something. All right. I'm
gonna do like a bull rush kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know what the rules are for a charge in this, but we will just say you make a strength check, and because it's an awesome idea, you can have advantage. And I gotta decide before you roll what the DC is gonna be. Okay. Okay, go ahead. Hold on just a second. So as he turns to go for this big bullhorn and blow it, you just kind of, with preternatural speed, dropping the plate of food that you had brought up to them.
And I imagine just kind of throwing the bottle of jug of ale at the other guy's face.
Okay, yeah, you pounce forward, toss the mugs of ale in one guy's face. He reels back. You kind of dash past him, and he does like a cartoon spinny move.
Yeah.
You grab the other guy by the legs and just go hook, and he just flies over the rail and down 150 feet. And you hear and
I'm assuming hear a crunch.
You hear a crunch. Gore, you are standing next to this half orc, that you've knocked out, and you hear this kind of as a body, a gray robe fluttering in the wind from the fall comes sailing down right into the middle of this drake pit and just crunches flat on the ground, and the drakes kind of all hop back and look at it really suspiciously, and then all just attack and tear him limb from limb. Julianne, roll initiative.
I also don't have a token, so I can't actually do that.
I'm sorry. I will get that prepared. I guess I should put all your tokens out here. I wasn't really planning on this to be that kind of map, but
That's fine.
you'll keep track of where you're at.
Hell yeah.
All right. I'm trying to figure out how to, since I didn't have it up. Roll another one, because I didn't have the initiative thing up fast enough. I mean, I'll give you the 19, but... And let's see, we need...
I gotta play with my strengths, yo.
No, that was
Talking's
awesome.
not one of them.
All right, you act before him. So, you've just sent this guy sailing. You can hear him. Ah! The other guard's covered in ale and is half blinded for a second. What do?
I go and try to put the guy in a strokehold.
Chokehold. Okay. Make a grapple strength check. You can add your athletics. Yeah, you absolutely. He's like, what's happening? And he just like feels this large female half-orc arm come around his neck and start strangling him.
I drag him away from the ledge, like the southern ledge, like towards the north.
It's the tower that you're on is only probably 10 foot by 10 foot square, and there is a little railing around the side.
Okay, I just drag him away from the railing.
Okay, he is going to attempt to... He's going to attempt to, you can still, he can make an attack. He's got a spear. He's going to try and, like, jab back at you while you're dragging him. And my dice seem to be, wow, that's a crit. So
Take it.
So he does... $11 damage. I guess I should give you some music.
Cool.
All right, your turn.
Are
you gonna do what I think you can do?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait, what are you gonna do?
Another strength check.
Aren't you paying attention?
No.
I'm gonna eat a snack.
Oh, okay.
That's a bonus action.
Okay, you eat a snack and heal for 4.
It's some of the ale that's just on his face.
You just like slurp some of it out of his beard.
Yes.
You feel reinvigorated. What's your action?
Am I gonna be able to like make him pass out?
Yeah, you can. He'll his next round he'll make a Constitution check versus your strength, and I'm going to say he's probably going to have to fail like 3 of those before he's going to totally pass out.
Okay.
All right, he fails that one. On his turn, he tries to jab at you again. And since he's on his way to choking, I'm going to give him disadvantage.
You better take care of him quickly.
I assume a 9 does not hit your
Does not hit me.
armor class. Okay, go ahead and make another strength check versus his con.
I'm gonna use my inspiration.
Okay, reroll. You succeed. So let's see, with the initial grapple and those 2 successes, we'll say that he chokes out and goes unconscious.
Okay. I drag him over and throw him like in the far corner of the den, the dragon den.
Oh, okay.
Just like the farthest corner away from the people.
Sure.
After like maybe like no, I just throw him.
Okay. You throw him, and yeah, I mean, you can see from where you're at that, you know, I probably should have made some sort of check when the first guy screamed, but this guy can't scream, so he just falls, and Gore, very shortly after you hear the screaming guy hit the floor, you see another limp, dead body come crashing down and land on some of the guard drakes. In fact, it smashes, it, like, totally kills one of them, because that is a long fall and a heavy dude wearing chainmail. So, Alex, Julian, the half-work, has just killed 2 of the cultist guards, and by proxy, 1 ambush drake. And with that...
And now I have the tower to myself.
And now you're up on the tower. With that, we will call it an evening.